Hello, you're watching Outsiders. I'm James Morrow here with Rita and Rowan, and I can tell you what, can 2020 get any more intense? You know, not much more than 24 hours ago, putting this segment together, it would have been all about Joe Biden's latest gaffe, or the tightening polls in Florida, or what's going to happen with the debates. No longer. Now, in American politics, there is only one story: Ruth Bader Ginsburg and who will replace her. Well, in a moment, I'm going to tell you who I think he'll go with and why. But first, we have to deal with the large and growing number of voices saying that Trump should not nominate a replacement to her seat on the Supreme Court until after the election. Because it wouldn't be fair, they say. Because it wouldn't be right. Because, let's face it, because it would cement a conservative majority on a court the radical left has long relied on to implement their ideas. Well, you know what? It's a trap, and one Trump would be a fool to fall for. America doesn't have caretaker conventions like Australia. There is no constitutional reason not to nominate a nominee, even though there are less than 50 days left to the election. What's more, we already know through operations like the Democrat-run front group Transition Integrity Project that the left intends to litigate any result in November it doesn't like, in the courts as well as the streets. Senator Ted Cruz explained this yesterday on Fox News. Have a listen.
Well, I think the court, we are one vote away from losing our fundamental constitutional liberties. And I believe that the president should next week nominate a successor to the court. And I think it is critical that the Senate takes up and confirms that successor before Election Day. There's going to be enormous pressure from the media. There's going to be enormous pressure from Democrats to delay filling this vacancy. Democrats and Joe Biden have made clear they intend to challenge this election. They intend to fight the legitimacy of the election. As you know, Hillary Clinton has told Joe Biden, under no circumstances should you concede. You should challenge this election. And we cannot have Election Day come and go with a 4-4 court. A 4-4 court that is equally divided cannot decide anything.
Ted Cruz was, of course, far more articulate than the lefties spluttering on Twitter, such as playwright Beau Willimon, who told his 162,000 Twitter followers, "We're shutting this country down if Trump and Mitch McConnell try to ram through an appointment before the election." Left-wing commentator Reza Aslan shared his thoughts about plans to nominate just for the election as well. "Over our dead bodies, literally," he said. Sorry, Reza, is that a threat? And of course, U.S. Senate Democrats think Trump shouldn't nominate someone either, as if he's going to start taking Dianne Feinstein's advice now. Because seriously, would Trump surrender to these credentialed cretins who are literally threatening civil war in the streets? Not a chance. So who should Trump pick? Well, meet Amy Coney Barrett, 48 years old, professor of constitutional law, and U.S. Circuit Court judge on the Seventh Circuit. Eminently qualified, she's also a strict constitutional originalist, as well as a devout Roman Catholic, something that will send the left, which is obsessed with protecting the poisoned fruits of the sexual revolution at any cost, including Roe versus Wade, completely around the bend. And she's used her position on the Seventh Court to do a lot of good, including undoing Obama-era policies that used to see university students have their entire lives blown up over anonymous accusations of sexual misconduct in kangaroo courts that wouldn't even pass muster in Dan Andrews' Victoria. But it will be hard for her enemies to do to Barrett what they did to Brett Kavanaugh, namely engage in a character assassination campaign relying on dodgy claims of sexual assault from witnesses who, in many cases, later went on to recant their testimony. Oh, and there's one more thing. For the past couple of weeks, ever since it became clear that the Black Lives Matter and Antifa-led violence in America's cities was hurting the Democrats in the polls, things have calmed down. Have you noticed that? Now, though, the Democrats are threatening to have the mother of all temper tantrums just as the election approaches. Do they really think that more violent street theater, media smear campaigns, and political obstructionism is the way to get their way at the ballot box? Well, apparently yes. After what we've seen over the past 3 months, I don't think voters are in any mood to reward that tantrum, though.